Welcome to another episode of the PLA podcast. Manny, welcome. It's so lovely to have you on here as our guest today, truly.
Thank you, Dunia. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm so excited for this interview and looking forward to all the great insights we're all going to get from you today.
Same here. Thank you.
I would like to formally introduce you to our audience because they haven't had the privilege that us in the PLA family have gotten to get to know you over the last few months. So I just wanted to take a moment, meet Manivannan. Thiagarajan, technology and cloud solutions professional with deep expertise in AW architecture, runs a creative brand, Mani Photos and Videos, capturing events and stories through photography and videography. Journeys includes transitioning from sales to software and completing a master's in computer applications, working for multinational companies across Sweden, Japan, and the US, spending 22 years in the United States, honing skills in both cloud technology and photography. Believes growth comes from long hours of learning, persistence, and overcoming self doubt and staying consistent. Passionate about personal growth and self improvement, from career and creativity to health, trading, and AI explorations, recently stepping into the realm of spirituality, adding depth to his journey. Driven by the daily mantra, be a better version of myself than yesterday. Manny, it's so lovely to have you on here as our guest today.
Thank you, Dunia.
I wanted to take you back and take all of us back at the very, very beginning of your career. Let us know where it all started, where the journey really began.
Oh, yeah. When I did my undergrad, and I was like flying out with colors and said, okay, here you go. I'm getting a job. I landed a job on sales, selling the vacuum cleaners, industrial vacuum cleaners.
Right.
And I was like, I was not at all prepared for sales job, right? And 6 months I tried. I was able to sell a couple of industrial vacuum cleaners. That's huge.
Yeah.
Two in a year is the target. I was able to achieve that in 6 months, but I was totally burnt. Like
Mm,
so much of talking and so much of learning, but somehow back up in the mind, I was not very comfortable doing that at all because when it comes to sales, you got to be so talkative. So at that time, I was not. Right? So I said, you know what? The best job for me, not sales. So I went back to my university. I did my master's in computer applications. And then I branched off from sales to computer science. And here I am.
yeah.
So, yeah,
It's so wild how this journey begins oftentimes in one direction, and life shows us very quickly, wait a minute, we may need to change directions here, and gives us an opportunity to try something completely different.
right, right. But you know what? Now I'm realizing that I should have stayed in the sales because
Tell us
because
more.
sales,
Why so?
yeah, it's all about communication with
Mm,
people, establishing the communication with people, and anything and everything that we do, right? There is a bit of sales and there is a bit of marketing, and I'm realizing it now. But you know what? I'm ready to learn.
there you go. And the reality is you're now mastering those communication skills, whether through PLA or through your work. So in some ways, it's almost like a full circle moment. It wasn't through the sales jobs or job originally, but those skills were built regardless over time and these opportunities.
True. Yeah.
I'd be curious, Manny. I would love to know, if you had one piece of advice for you right as you were entering back into university,
Mhm.
going back to learn computer applications, I'd love to know, what do you wish someone had told you then, knowing everything that you know now?
That was a great question. When it comes to these kinds of feedback mechanism, right? Of course, there was no guidance for me to start with. I was just jumping into the water and swimming and came up to this level. And if I were to advise myself going back, right, what I would tell to myself is, hey, you know what? It's not just learning something on the job, right? Which I always used to do that, learned everything on the job, and I excelled at things wherever I worked. that was not enough,
Mm.
because I was able to just meet the expectations or exceed the expectations to what the employers have set. But to me, right, I was not really putting my skills out in the wild.
Mm.
So what I realized during COVID time, because we all had so much of time, right? At that time, I started learning things all by myself in my personal time,
Wow.
right? We had nothing to do. Hey, let me go get the AWS certification done. So I started doing the AWS certification, and that's when the light bulb moment came to me. It's like, it's not just going to work and learn something there. It's like you need to spend your personal time to upgrade your skills. That's
Mm.
one. And the second thing is the visibility. As I already told you, right? The sales job that I just got out, probably that would have given enough visibility to me if I had stayed there. I'd been a fantastic communicator at the early stages, right? That could have given me a leg up. But probably it's the cultural thing about being humble. I don't beat my own drums up until 4 or 5 years back. Now I'm like beating it, right? The visibility is what
Yes.
was missing. And
Mm.
after joining PLA in the last 1.5, 2 years, right? This is something which I'm really, really working on, and it's paying me back.
Wow, Manny, this is amazing. And so many times we think when we're in technical jobs or we're in the tech field, really, we forget that visibility is so important because it's actually, in sales jobs, it's something that's very much recognized and recommended. It's actually put at the forefront of the skills we should be working on. But when we're in tech, oftentimes we're behind a computer, we're in our cubicle at the office, or we're working with teams virtually, remotely, really. And we forget the importance of visibility because it's such a big aspect, especially when technical skills will only get us so far in our career. And then what gets us to the next level really is who we are as a person, how we drive teams, how we lead, etc.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, after hitting that ceiling, only that realization set in.
Wow.
You know, but
I'd be, I,
learning is there always.
yes, totally. And I think that that's the biggest lesson is if you allow yourself to learn from these opportunities, that's when
Mhm.
you've really grown. There's so much more on the table left for you.
Right, right.
I'd be curious, Manny. There's so many people in their careers have some of the
Mhm.
biggest challenges and lessons, and oftentimes we over glorify, the achievements and the awards and everything that went well. But I find it fascinating when someone shares with us the parts of their stories that were the big challenges. A, it makes us far more relatable to them,
Mhm.
and B, people learn. We learn much more from our challenges, but people also learn when we share what we've been through and how we've grown from that. Some people listening may relate to those challenges. I'd love to hear what were yours.
Of course, when it comes to challenge, right? For me, right, after quitting that sales job and jumping into IT, I always have been a fantastic programmer, IT guy. I ran multiple projects, so life was all rosy, comfortable. That's the keyword that I would use, right? Because I was getting what I was getting and bonuses and everything. I was all fine. Uh, then came one fine day, because I was staying in the comfort zone, and I was working for General Electric, and there was a mass layoff. And I mean, it's about 150, 160 people were let go during a Thanksgiving time. And that was kind of a wake up call for me. Like, that was in my career. Uh, about 20 years into my career, that was the first time I was let go, and I was like, I couldn't process it.
Wow.
I was really upset for a couple of weeks.
Mm.
And that hit me really, really hard. And then, again, another light bulb moment, right? That's because I was staying very comfortable. I was not really, really paying attention to the world that has changed around me, because I was just focusing only on my employment, not the outside world, right? So that's when I thought, what, get out of comfort zone. This is the opportunity that I have got. Okay. And second thing that came to my mind was seek the failures,
Mm.
because for me life has been always pretty successful up until that moment. When I hit the failure, right, that's when it pushed me to learn more, and it pushed me to seek more failures. That's when some of the keywords started appearing in my mind. It's like, you know what, fail fast, learn something. It's okay to fail. Failures are not really setback. It's like you are learning one another way where it won't work, right? So it's the mind shift change, that's the career challenge that I had. It was an aha moment, but
Mm.
it took 2 to 4 weeks for me to really process that and then switch over from that mindset
Mm.
to a progressive mindset. I'm
Absolutely.
glad that I got laid off at the time.
Isn't that amazing? I love this story, and I'm sure so many people can relate to. If you're watching this recording, and you've either recently been laid off, or you can remember a time you were laid off, and you were thinking that was really difficult on my character, on my ego, on my emotions, on my mindset. A lot of us fall into kind of this victim loop trap where we're like down and out, and we can't seem to figure our way out of there. And I love, Manny, where you end that statement and end that entire share and say, I'm very grateful for having been laid off and thankful that this happened. There's so much there. There's so much richness in that teaching. One was that part of being in the comfort zone and falling into the trap of the comfort zone, saying, you know what? I'm good. Life is good. Everything's okay. I'm protected. I'm safe. And the reality is, none of us are really. We have to keep growing. We have to pay attention to what's happening on the outside world. And we have to really show that we are a great contributing asset to the tables that we get to be a part of on this journey in our careers. And so I love this insight of that teaching of being let go while you were kind of in that bubble of the comfort zone and saying,
Mhm.
wait a minute, something's got to change. And all these years later, you are grateful for that moment is just such a teaching opportunity for those listening today.
True. Thank you. Yeah. One thing that came to my mind was, you know what? No one is indispensable for any company.
Bingo. Bingo. Yeah. And it's so true. So many of us can fall into that trap at some point,
Mm.
in any point of the career, so many of us. And it's just realizing, wait a minute, everyone is replaceable. And that is, you know what, it's a humbling piece on the ego. The ego has to accept that eventually, but
Yes.
it is true.
True. Right.
I'd be curious, Manny, what were some of the things you were most grateful for in your career, that helped you along the journey, where you're thinking, if it wasn't for them, or if it wasn't for this resource, or if it wasn't for this opportunity, there's no way I'd be where I am today?
Yes, I had difficult time in the very next job uh, because of some challenges, interpersonal
Yeah.
challenges. And you know what? I'm still grateful for the person that pushed me, challenged me. I'm still in touch with that person. And another shift has happened at that time.
Mhm.
I was I was in the leadership position for about 7 or 8 years, and then because of that personal challenge, right, I turned around. I went back to my engineering roots. I started coding.
Mm.
I was a bit rusty the very first month, but you know what? It all clicked. It just came back.
Wow.
It was less than a month. I was able to be super productive from that day onwards,
Mm.
and that's that's another aha moment, and that's right after 1.5 years after my first opportunity where they laid me off, right?
Right.
That I would call that as a golden opportunity, right? And then the second opportunity came, and then it's the mindset, right? It's kind of a waterfall. Once you went over the ledge, right, you are like unstoppable, right?
Mm.
And here I am in the last 2 years, right, with PLA, right? I just found Venkat on LinkedIn, and then I was just thinking, huh, I've never heard Indian guys leading any of the personal leadership academies.
Mhm.
Oh wow, let me just reach out to him. I reached out to him. and it's all history now. It's been 2 years, and I have changed a lot with so much of big push from all the leaders. Dunya, you are also one of the person, right? We are looking up to you, and I feel so much grateful for all of the PLA family, right? Each and everyone has so much to offer, and the changes that
Mm,
people are putting in me are on a daily basis, right?
mm,
And I, I mean, I did my journaling and all while I was so young, right? Probably in my teens. Probably I did it for a month or so and then just left it. Now it's been a couple of years and I have been continuously on it. I would say 90%. Some days I don't. Yeah, so picked up lot of habits that's really really I would call it as a watershed moment.
wow.
It's I'm really growing in those areas. I'm really liking this. I'm feeling like a kid now.
No,
Learn.
it's amazing, Manny. You glow when you talk about this. And I think one of the big things is you fell on an opportunity where you could play full out, and that's why you're getting so much value out of this. And you're right, it's a transformational journey. Like there's so many facets of our lives, not just our careers, but our personal development. And we bring who we are to every room we walk into. So when we transform, our whole world starts to transform. What happens at home transforms, our communities transforms, our office, our teams, and the new opportunities we get to play with.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Right
amazing.
to put it there. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm curious to know, there's been this big, huge buzzword with this piece around AI and the changes that it's brought. I'd be curious to get your perspective.
Phew. Yeah, right. Probably from the time we started recording this 17, 18 minutes into this recording, something would have changed somewhere with AI, right? It's
Yeah.
it's changing in leaps and bounds.
Mm.
And with AI, my perspective is it's a double-edged sword, right?
Mm.
It's like you got to know it. You cannot just stay and close your eyes and say that, hey, there is no AI. It's not going to have impact on me. But
Mm.
each passing day, people are having impacts. I would say positive impacts, negative impacts, right? That's why I said it's a
Yeah.
double-edged sword, right? The more we depend on it,
Yeah.
we will lose our shine.
Mm.
But what I have discovered, or what how I'm processing AI is, use it as your best friend.
Mm.
Don't depend too much on it, but don't just stay away from it. Keep a distance, maintain the balance. We should be good.
I love this. It's like a friend with a small boundary.
Yes.
And I think there's something really valuable in what you said. Like learning to use it and not be totally dependent on it is very, very, very important to remember. And to keep that in mind every day as AI is taking more and more place at the table, which is the reality of our day to day life, especially in our professional careers.
uh, Probably we need to cut it. Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, no, I was just sharing that it's like the
Oh,
more like, it's going to be important to keep that boundary
yeah.
of like using AI to its possibility without being totally dependent on it.
True, true. Yeah, the classic case is I'm using AI for my own coding here.
Hmm.
What I do is I would like to do my own core coding and simple jobs, right? I will say I'll ask AI to write, can you write something to do this small part?
Mm,
So for the small things, I would depend on AI. And of course, when it comes to testing, I really don't want to pay real attention there.
yeah,
I would say, hey, because AI is pretty good at writing test cases, I would say, hey, here is my code, go write test cases. So I'm using the maximum from AI where I really don't have to focus my attention on, because I want to be very creative with the creative work, right?
yes.
So yeah.
And I know you have so many passions also outside of work with creative work. I would love to know, where did all of that love for creativity start?
Yeah, I think when I was working in Sweden, and that's when the small digital cameras came out, the size of the webcam, and I was like super fascinated about it. And since I had access to money and I had access to the electronics, I was like, okay, let me buy it. It was a few each picture when you take it, right, it's all blurry, but it used to give some 16 KB files, images, which you connect it to the computer and download. And I was like, wow, because until that point, right, it's all film cameras, right? So you need to wait for all 32 snaps to get over, you need to get to the lab, finish, and then it won't turn out good also most of them. But with digital camera, right, with the advent of it, you can erase it, you can redo it, and it's like that became a fascination for me. And that was in the year 2001, and that's when I started. Yeah, that's when I started investing in video cameras, and every 3 or 4 years I'll keep buying different versions of cameras, different brands. And then I mean, I was an amateur photographer. I used to just take pictures mindlessly and then process it. And then the more we start working, right, that's when it became a passion for me. I'm like, okay, you know what, any parties, any events, hey, I'm here, I'm the de facto photographer. So I started doing that. And at one point in time, you know what, you will think that, you know what, you are ready to do events and other things, you're taking it to the next level. Then I started investing in all skills upgrade, as well as professional equipments. Tons of money has been poured into it, and I'm still doing it. I'm pretty happy with the doing. It's 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 a hobby turned out into a professional work.
Nice.
And I just forget myself when I start doing photography, whether it's taking pictures or editing. And mostly I'll connect back to the sales. This
Mm,
is where I'm actually really interacting with people.
wow.
My game changer with other photographers in my area here is, they will say, oh, you know what, money comes up, he loosens up people.
Mm,
Nobody will be stiff in front of me.
so
They
good.
will they will just all glow and with smile, and they see the difference. So
It's
that's one of the game changer, which I'm not just saying, I heard it from people.
That's amazing, Manny. I think that that's such a testament to, those skills because it takes a true talent to get someone to feel comfortable, number one, and to bring out the essence of someone. And you're right. Oftentimes, this is something that a field, an industry like sales and an industry like photography do have in common in so many ways. There's definitely something there, and it is a rare talent. It's not actually. I've seen so many phenomenal photographers that don't have that skill, and oftentimes the models or the people in front are not quite as comfortable, and so the results aren't quite that great. But someone who can really allow someone to be authentic and be themselves and let them glow and shine and be able to capture their essence in film or in a photo is a gift, a true gift.
Thank you. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, Maddie. I'm curious to know, what are you most excited about for what's still coming in your career?
Ah, AI. Right. So yeah, it's keeping a distance, right? Have it 5 foot 5 feet difference, right? Don't just let it consume you, but keep it as a distance and still keep consuming it. For example, with photography, right, Google has released some banana, I just forgot the complete name. It's like you just take your photographs and say, remove the background, or put me in front of a particular statue, uh, put me in New York City. It's like it's doing a fantastic, phenomenal job there, right? And I'm super excited for, even with video creation, you can create 12 seconds of video with Google VO service, and it's all prompting, right? You just come up with your imagination and prompt it, and it gives fantastic video. You keep revising it, and I'm super excited for all these things, all these technologies. And second thing is, I have gotten into the spiritual world also.
Yes.
I haven't scratched even the surface, and it's pretty humbling to
Oh.
know who we are. I still haven't figured out, right? At least the talks about who we are, what do we want, why are we here, right? So those kinds of the spiritual thought process and the journey, right, which I have started. It's I'm super excited, uh, and I'm really looking forward for it every day.
Incredible. Manny, I think there's such a beautiful gift of the journey of connecting to our spirituality and our faith. It's a true gift, and it's like a self-actualization that so many of us thrive for, crave in this lifetime. And it's a true liberation in a very humbling way. Like you said, it's a gift.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd love to ask my final and juicy question, which is, what has been your biggest takeaway from PLA? I know we touched a bit on PLA, about a little bit on PLA a little earlier in this podcast journey, but I just want to get your take on what has been the biggest takeaway from PLA.
Oh, that's one of the very toughest questions because it's not just one, right? I
And feel
really
free to
cannot.
share more if you'd like, but I'd love to share. I would love for you to pick what would be the top one, and then feel free to share as many as you want.
Okay, the top one, the biggest takeaway is PLA has made me the real me come out of myself, right?
Mm.
Because even though from the childhood we have been taught that, hey, don't worry about others opinions, just do what you want, you are supposed to do, you will become great, right? Having gone through all these things and went through so much in the career, right? Now you take a pass, and with your mentors really touching upon these topics, that, hey, gently telling that, nudging us, right, telling that, you know what, you might have heard all these things and you might have all this information, so many tons of books in this world talking about this. You know what, we are here to coach you, mentor you, right? Do this. It's like, that's where I said I feel like a kid, because people are sometimes hand holding us, showing us the direction, right? So it's the self discovery, which is the big thing, I would say.
Incredible. I think that's huge, of a community in place, not only that you're growing and thriving to be that next version of you, but to allow you to be more authentic than ever while creating that independence, while creating accountability, is huge and so rare in communities like this.
Right, right, yeah. I'm very grateful for PLA, right? So who I am today, right?
So am I. So am I, and so many of us have been absolutely blessed and gifted to be shown PLA and get to be part of this incredible journey, and have met all through this amazing community.
Right. Yeah.
I wanted to put on the screen, just in case someone is curious on what is this wild PLA adventure. I'm going to put this QR code. If you are curious, we constantly host these amazing free trainings that are filled with value. No matter what, you are guaranteed to walk out with a ton of value attending. I've been so many times, so many people from our community have been so many times, and this has been tailored and created and perfected by our leadership team over and over and over again. So I just wanted to put that out there. In case that is something that you are curious about, you'll know where to find it. So I'm just going to put that like this. And thank you, Manny, for your time today and your experience, your expertise, your perspective, everything that you've shared with us. It's been an absolute privilege to have you on here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dunya. I never knew that I can talk for 30 minutes. Well, thank you so much. It was a
Oh,
great interaction.
it was an absolute pleasure to interview you. And we hope to have you on again as a guest on the PLA podcast. And for everyone listening, thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching. And we'll catch you on the next episode. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank
Take
you,
care.
Manny.
Yeah.